Order. Okay, good evening, everyone. This is a municipal caucus. Today is Monday, May 11, 2015, at a 5:30 p.m. start. The clock on my cell phone is showing 5:40 p.m. May I have a roll call for the commencement of this caucus? Councilperson Kajewski.
Yeah.
Councilperson Ramcho.
Yeah.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Yeah.
Councilperson Young.
Yeah.
Councilperson Osborne.
Here.
Councilperson Coleman.
Here.
Councilperson Rivera. Councilperson Waterman.
I got it.
And Council President Navarro.
Here.
We have 9 members in attendance at 5:40 p.m. Council President, I'll turn it over to you.
Let's bring up Stanley and Brian. They each have one item. Which item is yours?
Street
You want to do
paving,
street repaving? That's
Z24, the last one.
Z24.
Starting off with a bang.
Resolution 15-351, it's a resolution authorizing the award of the contract to AJM Contractors for the resurfacing of various streets, project number E15-001 for the Department of Administration, Division of Architecture, Engineering, and Traffic and Transportation. Gentlemen?
City engineer. We have a list of all the street paving that was composed with every councilman and councilwoman. And we have add few more streets. If the budget permitting, we're going to look into it. However,
I actually sent an email to all the council members
Saw the list,
with the
yeah.
list, just to
Yeah.
let you guys know. Yes.
Computers down.
Oh, yes, oh,
Thank you. Okay, so this is the contract to, this is a resolution to contract for the street resurfacing.
From the capital ordinance that the council adopted at the end of last year.
Okay, any questions for Stanley and Brian on this?
You know, I can see that
How come Ward E has all these streets and Ward A has all these streets?
Word D is the
Can you explain the,
less streets.
Why some have more than others? Can you explain that?
Yes.
Not even? Why does some wards have more streets being paved than others?
well, Ward A has almost double the street of the other wards. It depending on, yes, Ward A is very much a larger area and more street. So it's proportionally correct. However, those streets were over the period of time, which is we get requests from each ward, and then we adopt that street before we ask for permission for the city's capital fund. So
They've also taken into consideration if there's utility work being planned within your ward, they're not going to repave a street if only have it cut up, in a year from now.
the sheer number of streets isn't necessarily the, I mean, I think the more accurate is how much miles, yeah, in that sense.
However, on Ward B, to release number 27, either Belmont or Corbin, because Corbin was added, requested later on, which is a very long street, and probably you cannot add Corbin without the last, wants to see how much money we have available. You cannot simultaneously pave Belmont and Corbin at the same time. Each street Corbin probably costs $250,000, and we just don't have that kind of available fund.
Well, I think we should go there together and take a look at it. Corbin Belmont, I need Belmont to get done. Belmont.
Right. Belmont is on the list, definitely.
I need Belmont to get paved the first street in
Yes.
the.
Corbin is added on, so we will consider after all the paving is done and see how much we have fund available to pave Corbin. Yeah. It's a long stretch all the way up to Broadway.
6-month project, a year-long project.
$8 million, probably 2 years, because 1 year is very aggressive. We'll see how much we can accomplish.
Corbin Street, what they asked them to pave is not a long stretch. It's just from Sip Avenue to the church, the entrance there.
Oh, that entrance.
That entrance they want to pave, yes.
But that section probably belongs to private owned.
Rich, you need to take a look at that, because the church and the people around there, they've been asking for this for a long time.
What about Ocean Avenue and MLK Drive and all those main flags that are a mess? Bergen Avenue. They're not on here. Pacific Avenue is on here, but those main blocks that are really in poor condition, they're not on here at all. Does that come under our request, or is that a part of the city's capital, the main streets or something like that? Is something different that those blocks aren't on here?
Well, Ocean Avenue is qualified for the state funding, and we probably this year we will apply for the Ocean Avenue entire streetscape as a state-funded available street. So we don't use city money to pave the state funding. Then we can stretch. Yeah, Ocean Avenue, the entire stretch will be the next year's grant application. This year, Pacific Avenue is on the street. Yes.
That meet the state qualifications, so that way we're not getting confused with the, yeah.
We have taken it into account because all the major thoroughfare is state-funded available. Martin Luther King, Bergen Avenue, Central Avenue, Summit Avenue, everything on the major west side of the street. And
Councilman Gajewski, then Yun.
Several streets that I had put down that they were listed as DOT. The DOT was supposed to do at least 3 streets in A. I don't know whatever happened to that. Department of Transportation, on the original list that I had submitted, when it was typed up, whoever looked at it.
Cable Point, maybe?
No, it was Bartholi, Pearsall, and Gates. And they said the
Yeah, that was the
DOT,
list we got a few months ago, I remember that.
Yeah.
It said DOT funding.
and someone put down DOT was going to do it. So does anybody know DOT is going to do it?
we'll look into it again to see if this is DOT qualified street.
There was at least 3 streets that they said they were going to take care of.
Councilman Yun?
Yeah, okay, just streetwise, the World is the only 9th street, most of it is like over 10, like World F, World A is like a 16th street, the B is 11, C is 12, D is 9, and the E is 14, and F is 10 now. Let me ask a question, can't you give us like, as you said, can be different, some street get long, some street short, so can you give us a mileage, how many miles they paving World D, C, B, A, B, C, D by mileage? How many miles gonna pave? That's number 1. So I like to have to put it in. And then number 2, when I see this one, I always questioning. When we do street paving, I see that the list of what they're gonna do as some things like catch basin that we city of Jersey have to pay, that's the JCMU have to be paid. When I see the calculated, we touch that their sewer line and the change of catch basin, total cost just roughly, when I calculate, almost $800,000. If they should pay for that, you know what I'm saying? But
We did apply last year about 600,000 plus minus the work associated with the JCMU's work that we are entitled to. So Again, we will list all the catch basin or manhole that we replace and summarize because we have a pay item. And then we will send, at the end of the project, we will issue a letter to JCMU, say, these are the work that the city capital money, funded to upgrade it. So send them and have them pay us.
So now, I just want to make clear, that when I just roughly calculated, City of Jersey repave street, almost $800,000 capital improvement to change your manholes, catch base, or water, sewer, what are they called? Here you go. Some forces change, so and so, cost $800,000. We just want to make sure that we get reimbursed from the JCMUA, back to Jersey City, the extra $800,000 we can pave couple of more streets. So I'd like to add a couple of more street here, New York Avenue from the Patterson Frank Road to those street is a very bad condition. And where is it? Webster Avenue is a very bad condition. So we save $800 reimbursed space in JCMUA. We should be added to those Webster Avenue and New York Avenue. I think that's the way it's supposed to be done. You know what I'm saying? We should pay for that. So I just want to make sure that you just mentioned that they're going to reimburse. I like to sure that $800,000 come to with the Heights area, Webster Avenue and the New York Avenue should be paved. Why did I say no? No.
I got that, yeah. For the record.
So we just want to make sure that because we only have other district, as I say, A, 16th Street, B is 11th Street, C, 12. I don't know how come get to 12th Street. We got only 9. So if we get 2 streets, New York Avenue and West Avenue, then we are 11. So I'm feel. Yes, $800,000 enough to, right?
Yeah. Councilperson Coleman?
I would really like to see that mileage because I'm familiar, and these, we're talking one block here. We're talking Johnson Avenue from Grand and Pacific, that's one block. We're talking Communicore to Bramhall, that's one block. In other words, all of these in Ward F, you're talking about paving one block. So I don't understand how you balance this out, and I need to be able to understand that.
I think, we'll put the mileage there, but however, if we use that evenness, means that if we have $6 million every ward get $1 million, that is some kind of fair assessment. But however, city street does not necessarily mean that every ward has the equally street that is needed to be resurfaced. Okay, well, just 2 days ago, I get the information from our BA. He said that we city should adopt a so-called pavement management program, that we have a program to assess every single street in the city to determine what the condition of the street, and then we have to use priority list. So it may not be every ward get the same street. We're talking about Jersey City, so everybody constituent has the same right. If my street is worse than the other, I should be paid first, not because that would be the.
So I met with BA Tekaleski and Director Redfield. We've been talking about this for a little time in terms of coming up with a pavement management plan around this, coming with a 5-year plan with certain specific criteria that's very measurable about what streets should be resurfaced, and then making that entire list transparent so that you and I and others don't have to answer, why didn't my street get paved and so forth. We can say very clearly that there were very objective measures that determined which streets rose to the highest priority in that sense.
I appreciate that,
Yeah.
Council President, because there's only one street on here that I asked for that I'm getting since 2013, and that's Lafayette Street. That's the only street that I asked for. I don't even know where they got all of this from. It's not from the list that they asked us to submit, except for Lafayette Street. So I'm curious to know how you come up with this. Is this previous requests, and they're just catching up or something like that, because these are not the streets that I asked to be paved, and I rode my whole ward to find out which streets to ask for. Do you understand what I'm saying? And they were the ones that were in horrible condition, and they're not on this list, so I'd appreciate that.
As to like what were the criteria that went into this decision?
Well, first of all, we send a request for every ward councilman, woman, long time ago to say, what do you think in your ward, which street would be the more priority? Based on that list, we investigate a street and then come up with a list, and being modified many times, so for a long time. So if there's any street that it needs to be paved, we should have heard long time ago before we put out this so-called $8 million city budget. So it's.
Saying, she did submit that list. So the list that she submitted, those streets are not here from the list that she submitted. Because I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of streets in Ward F that do need street paving, and they're not here. And that's a little.
And I submitted them.
And that's a little troublesome, because there's, you know, I can look at wards here, and there are some streets in these wards that do not need to get paved. You know, and Ward F needs a lot of paving.
Okay, now, now, this is what I suggested. In the whole total project, actually, $7.2 million, and we put in the contingency almost $1.5 million. Street pavement is not really dig it up under the ground or something, we see it as something unexpected. So put in the contingency $1.5 million, it's gonna be somewhere we can use it. So now my question is that most of street pavement, fine. We did it last year, city of just come back, put you the speed hump. You know what I'm saying? And we put your speed hump, and then we realized that they're too high, so we have to bring up the crews to cut it, you know. That's a joke. So now what I'm suggesting, with this project, we can provide which street we need speed hump, so we can do together with the street pavement, with the speed hump together, so we can save taxpayers' dollars. So my strong suggested, let me repeat one more time, we say we're gonna get reimbursed $800,000, use the $800,000 to street pavement for New York Avenue and the Webster Avenue, because that's what they need. Second is that we have a $1.5 billion contingency, which is gonna be left over. Use the $1.5 million contingency, install speed hump, what every block's looking for. Can we do that?
The street is so bad, it's like a speed hump.
It's called the pothole speed hump strategy.
Actually, we can save taxpayer dollars. So now, what's your opinion for that?
The list that we received today, without those added street which we color in, is 7.5 where the contractor bid. After we add all this, say orange color area, it's become 8.4. That means we upgrade about another $1 million for all those streets added just before this meeting. Yesterday and today we add those three. It's already $8.4 million.
$8.4 million. We got 9.2, so we almost, how much is $800,000 left
Another
over?
$500,000 plus or minus.
Okay, so $500,000. We use that, put in the speed hump at the same time together. So it's costly less.
Yes.
You know, if we put your separate job for the speed hump, cost is like almost $5,000. That's what I heard that. So if we do together, it's easier and secure, and we can put it a better work up there. So please.
Okay, that we need again another input from every councilman, councilwoman, because
Provide.
Could I suggest that you meet with Councilwoman Coleman to make sure the streets that she really needs is on the list based on the mileage that you already presented with the streets that's current here? You can switch based on the mileage of the streets, right? To make sure, right.
But it's difficult because we have to give the contractor, which will be next Monday, we'll sit down with them, they will plan their work accordingly. So if we switch too much, they upset their plan.
It won't make that much of a difference, right?
Right, it's just location
So you
wise.
should meet with her so
The sooner we know, the better.
Okay.
But you know what I'm saying? set this up according to a whole plan. It didn't matter whether the streets were bad only. In other words, I can see the way they did this, that they did areas or certain parts, 1 block each, so that they didn't go to 2 and 3 block long things. Everything is 1 block here and it's in the same basic area. So that's a part of the plan, right, to make an easier paving schedule. Is that correct? So that's why my streets aren't on here, because they weren't in this plan. They weren't in this area, meaning you would have had to go and pave in another place. All of my streets are in the same local Lafayette area, and they're only 1 block long. So I guess you give me a block here, a block there, in a certain area. That's what it looks like. Probably, yes.
Can you get a copy of that, maybe?
Okay.
Okay, my next.
No, wait, Councilman Ramshaw, Councilman Gajewski, and then back to you, Councilman Young. Councilman Ramshaw.
Oh, finally. So, Belmont Avenue, just to let you know, and Council President could testify to this as well. When we was campaigning, we had meetings on Belmont Avenue, and this is one of the first things people said, they need this street to be paved. I promise that, and I've been fighting for that. So when you said or Belmont Avenue need to get paved, right?
We will get that.
And I specifically sent numerous emails says I need that paved. The first street paving would be Belmont Avenue. 2, we're talking about the money that left over. Let me explain something to you. You know how many dead-end streets we have in the city of Jersey City? All these dead-end streets. If you go down Community Park Avenue, Ward A, Ward B, Ward C, Ward F,
D2.
and D. Well, I'm not leaving y'all. There is a lot of dead-end street there with like 12, 13 houses there. Those streets never get paved. Like, those are the streets you guys should look at. If you have excess money left over, go to those dead-end streets and pave those little streets. Because those people, they live there and all they get pothole fixed, the street is not getting paved. Let's start to help them out a little bit. They pay tax as well. You guys looking at the long drag and not looking at the dead end. Look at those dead-end streets.
We have about over 140 dead ends in the city, which we constantly. We constantly, we have a dead end improvement project. Now it's going on every year. Some of them, yes. Only the immediate dead end area, but may not be the whole thing. But that's a good thing to look into it,
Please.
since we improve.
If you got money left over. And regarding the speed hump should be a process where we have meetings with every block association and figure out who needs speed bump. Because when you install these speed bump, people that Rolando and I, Council President and I went through this. You was at the meeting as well. People don't want them. Some people want them, some people don't want. So I think it should be a petition process. You have a meeting, council person for the ward, and which block association with block needed. You install a speed hump, like Councilperson Young says. Why it's a street paving? Install the hump because you pave the street, you got to dug it up, and then put the hump. It makes no sense. So we should take all of that into consideration before we start out the street paving.
Councilman Gajewski, then you.
When we first were asked to put the streets down, I, like everybody else, I think, who was a ward council person, went around to check them out. That was some time ago. And I made a list out. They were listed the bad, very bad, and horrible. That's the way I listed them. And the ones that were either very bad or horrible are on this list. And some of them were short distances, like Chico just said, that there's only like 3 blocks, one block, for instance, Van Houten, when we were campaigning, walking up and down this steep street, and it looked like a tiger tank went down. I mean, it was so bad. And the people were saying, look at the street, nobody ever comes here. On Stevens Avenue, God, you can't ride down Stevens Avenue. The people, when I walked down Stevens Avenue, said that they weren't paving for many, many years. So I'm happy to see that there's many, many more streets, A, that can be paved. But I'm happy to see that the ones that are horrible are included in it. So if you're looking to take any streets out from here, don't take them out from there. You know? Pay alone.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, now.
Councilman Young.
So now, Rob, let me ask you, so we're gonna have a street pavement the next year also?
This will carry over to next year. Let's get through all of
This
this.
is probably gonna be an 18 to 24-month project. The next capital ordinance, I suspect, we'll begin that process in 16. we'll have more funding, put in there for that budget.
17, yeah.
Yeah, so,
No, I'm not finished yet. So, whatever we plan next year, gonna come down like a 17.
17, yeah.
Okay, so give us most things at 17. I'm gonna take the less, But now, I see that the item 69, video camera, is a 39 units, $8,000, just $312. What that means is a video camera over here? Page 18, item number 69. Video camera, $312,000. What kind of video camera are you talking about? Is it traffic video? What is it?
Well, we used to use the so-called wiring on the street, right, to detect with the car approaching to the intersection. We eliminate it. We put the camera to detect the car coming, because the street being paved, destroyed, then it's useless. So we change everything into camera. That's what it is. By sensor, the car approaching.
Automatically traffic light. Good idea. Okay.
Two questions, actually. One, every year we pave streets, all right? And, I know this from 8th to Kenny, Donnelly. And sometimes we pave the same street twice. What kind of warranty or guarantee these contractors giving us? Like, how much, like, in 6 months, the street go bad pothole, some of the street on West Side Avenue, you see, you walk on West Side, you see like holes all the way down in the bottom of the street.
I think that's due to
And the brand new, they paved that.
probably due to the utility or the request for the trench excavation that caused the problem.
That's what
Because when we pave the street, we nail the street, we can see whatever it's the soft spot. We have to fix it before we pave it. But after the paving, you won't be surprised the next day that you'll have the water making the holes. That happens. So therefore, we need to watch the individual excavation after paving.
Last question. Last. We painting driveway. Who's gonna pay for that? The Jersey City Parking Authority is gonna do it, or the taxpayer gotta pay for that to get done?
As part of this paving project, it is the contractor's responsibility to restore anything in kind before they destroyed it. So that was the issue that I think it's become an issue because we do not have the contractor be responsible to restore that. So it should be done right away after paving.
Okay, so take a list of every.
Contract gonna be due, right? Contract gonna be paid for no
Contractor should be responsible to restore that.
No, you should be. Are they responsible?
Yeah, it's in a
Yes.
written document that they're responsible for that.
Because they
Part
charge
of it,
$35
restore
for each.
street in kind.
Yeah.
We took away last time is due to,
Can I
Other reason.
get a copy, can we get a copy of that bid so I can review that? Because if that's be the case, trust me, I will be on the case to make sure they have a list of every,
pre-construction meeting is a Monday. We make sure the contractor is aware of that. We put it in the writing, in the minutes of meeting, then we give to all the councilmen.
Okay, we have to move along.
All right, that's it, that's all.
Councilman Bojano.
I'm very happy with the streets you paved, but I want to know one thing. Probably the worst street in the city of Jersey City is Newark Avenue from Five Corners down to Little India. Who's responsible for that?
No, it's not bad.
Not bad, it's horrible.
Compared to that.
Is public service supposed to pave
Newark
that?
Avenue? Newark Avenue is a DOT project. The reason is because of the MUA come to do the sewer improvement, and which is involved with the gas main and electric. Because the thing is that the electric and gas has to remove, so the sewer line can be buried underneath. After they finish, then gas and electric has to come back and then put on top of them. So this is the coordination between PSNG and MUA. Once they finish, then the city is coming to do the restoration with the DOT's money. Newark Avenue. It will be.
On the bottom where it says number 73 in Ward F, Dwight Street, from JFK Boulevard to Bergen Avenue, that is not Ward F, so you need to put me something else in that spot, because that's not Ward F.
Ward A.
Yes.
Ward A.
So you need to put something else in Ward F that was on my list there and take that off, okay?
Add it so we cannot.
Brian, you have another item?
Okay, yes.
Z13.
Folks,
Z13.
Z13.
Z13, Resolution 15340. It's a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to V&K Construction for Angel Ramos Park renovations.
That's correct. Primarily a playground renovation. But there are several items we're gonna address and make ADA compliant and clean up as much as we can within the budget. That's okay. We're gonna do as much as we can within the budget we have, general cleanup, but basically it's primarily a playground structure replacement. That's on 93 Wayne Street.
All about downtown again. What about Sunshine Field and Wade?
okay,
It's coming. Good things come to us.
any,
I'll tell you something. I got an email on Saturday from a fellow whose daughter played on, down at the park, down at Pavonia, and, what is it, Pavonia and Van Wagenen? He said it's disgraceful down there. The park is horrible. Something's gotta be done. All right?
any other questions on?
You know, I just wanted to make a comment about Z13 is that I've definitely gotten comments from parents about taking their kids there and finding needles and stuff like that. So whatever we can do to open it up and so it doesn't feel closed.
Yep, that's what we're gonna do.
Great.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you. Thank you, Brian. Okay, we've got, oh, that's Joanne. Hi.
Jeremy is gonna go into it.
Okay, settlement agreement. Go ahead.
Which is
I'm not even sure.
10Z19. Resolution.
Z19?
Resolution 15346. Z19. It's a resolution authorizing the settlement agreement of 20 River Court West versus the City of
Z19?
Jersey City. Z19.
That's.
You're on, Corporation Counsel.
So this is a unique situation where we're going to enter into an agreement with a developer with regard to Essex profit on the service charge. So the agreement itself is being attached as a public document, and we could talk about the specifics in that agreement, but I can't get into a lot of settlement negotiation information, which would be privileged. So I did want to start the conversation with that caveat. Now, with that being said, what we're talking about here is basically a LaFrac-owned property, several LaFrac-owned properties, where because of all the great things that are happening in Jersey City, the properties had generated more income than initially anticipated. And as we've told you in the past, when that happens, there are escalators in the agreement that allows the city to also share in that prosperity. And so the LaFracs were billed by our tax collector, who's done a fantastic job monitoring this issue, and they were billed approximately $4 million in Essex profit. And due to the great work of the collector and Joanne Monahan and Diana Jeffrey, who was here and will be back, we were able to collect that income, which is really an unprecedented feat. But in doing that, the LaFracs also decided to try and pursue some legal remedies because they felt like we maybe have overcharged them. The situation is very complex, and there's a statutory issue in play that means that the case that was going to be put before the court could have gone either way, and the city decided, in order to preserve what we've already done and the great work we've done, without risking any additional exposure on the city end, that we would agree to settle the case. And the LaFracs have agreed to leave the city with the $4+ million, and we all agreed as to how we were going to calculate excess profit going forward so that there could be no misunderstanding in the future. And as a result, the city's realized more income. we have a fair way that if they do continue to do better, the city has an opportunity to share in that. And also, we're able to go back to working on all the different things that we're working on with this development partner. So with that being said, we're putting this before you guys for your consideration, and certainly, if you have any questions, please let us know.
Last year was 2013, when they, our
Last year was
final,
2014.
14 was right, is it? When they make announcement, they collect extra $4 million from the excess profit from the older pilot program. We delight and we praise everybody. And the end of day, we get litigation.
And we're
And now
keeping
we
it.
settle the litigation,
No.
and we're gonna get to keep the money.
Yes, keeping on. But that is the issue. Now, when I see that the resolution, certain provision of those financial agreement, which provision cause problem? No, we talk about the excess profit. When you get into litigation, there have a certain provision is the issue. Which provision was the issue? You just say certain provision of those financial agreement. Which one is it?
What I said is certain components of the statute created some issues, not the financial agreement. The statute itself creates the state statute. That's right. So the long-term tax abatement statute was amended in 2003, and as a part of those amendments, there is language in there that provides for certain structures that can be in place with the urban renewal entity. And in this instance, the urban renewal entity in question has availed themselves of those structures, and so we are moving forward saying that those structures are permissible pursuant to the statute, if you want to know.
So now, another one, when I see that the resolution purpose, I scratch my head. Because when we make a financial agreement to talk about the excess profit, over the 2 years, when I read at the financial agreement, when you talk about the definition of the excess profit, how you calculate net, all like a carbon copy. Every financial agreement, so 100% is the same.
So you should know, in throughout Jersey City's history, that's not always the case. Sometimes excess profit has been calculated differently, but going for a considerable amount of time, really thank you to Joanne Monahan and now Diana Jeffries, we do use the exact same language going forward. So going forward, there should be clarity on this issue. But this is a historical abatement that goes back before our times. Well, not before all of our times, before my time. Sorry. But it was done under different conditions, different economic districts, different statutory conditions. Now going forward, we have a very specific language that we use. And by the way, in 10 years' time, that language will have to be reviewed again. Not in 10 years' time. Every year it gets to be reviewed.
When you take a settlement, I just want to make sure. Okay, here you go. I think so this is what it is. Okay, now, we make a settlement, but they have a condition. They agree to calculate their excess net profit on the annual rather than cumulative basis.
That's right.
Okay, now, what kind of impact going to be rest of that the contract? So now today, every financial agreement what we have, say annual.
Currently, the new agreements that we do going forward are clarified to be on an annual basis. That wasn't clarified in the financial agreement at this time, but we believed it was supposed to be annual. They believed it wasn't supposed to be annual. We've agreed that we're going to do it annual, which is, a proffer by them to settle this matter.
Number 4, what they say, the urban renewal entity or any entity subject to properties agree at the city's request to provide information concerning the detail of their respect income and expense. Actually, when I see the financial agreement, they're supposed to submit their the financial report every year.
That's right.
Why we have to put you at the city request? We don't have to request. They have to they submit automatically annually.
Right.
I'm sorry,
Why we
I
have
don't
to put in
understand.
this word?
He don't want the word request. He said.
That's what I'm saying, because I don't want at the city's request, when you make it,
Right.
Number 4 you're talking about?
actually, financial agreement, they're one of the duties that they must submit their financial agreement every year annually, not by at the city request.
They want
Why
it to
we
be
put it in this
automatic.
one?
I don't think it means at the city, but we could strike it.
Sure, why we have to request that the financial agreement?
They're worried they're
Clearly,
gonna
they
block
said
this
that
new-
annually submitted.
Yeah, we could take out the request out. That doesn't mean what you think it means. It doesn't mean that we have to request it before they have to give it, but I could see how that's confusing, so we might as well take it.
I think I have to remove it because you know why? We have almost out there's 190 some pilot program.
Sure, happy to do that, Councilman.
It's happy to do that. So,
Happy to be amended.
we're gonna amend it. When I see that you're
Yeah, we'll have it for Wednesday.
right? Okay, just make clear, okay? Okay, and that the other party have to agree with you guys, the city of Jersey, that the annually they have to submit their duty. Okay, it's not by at the city request. Okay, as long as it's clear for that. All right. So now, actually, finance department have to be should be here, but the person is not here. When you calculate net profit, excess profit by annually and cumulate that, what kind of impact the finance is going to impact the city of Jersey City?
Basically, there's no impact to the city of Jersey City unless the property realizes a financial excess profit. What you're asking us is, are we gonna collect more or less money under that provision? And in theory, we would collect more money. If the building realizes excess profit, on any given year, we would collect it. If we did it cumulatively, then that means that they would get to shift that profit and maybe offset it with costs realized in a different year. So it's a beneficial term for the city.
Next question is how many the entity or urban entity, whatever that they get the pilot program, that voluntarily they provide the financial report, the annual financial report to everyone. So how
We're
many-
getting annual financial reports from just about everybody.
everybody.
Just about.
Okay, now next question. We have a special person to review their annual financial report.
Yeah, we look at it through the collector's office primarily, and then they're doing that to make their assessment as to make sure that the service charge is the correct amount. Because most of our service charges, not all of them, but most of them are based on income, so we have to
So-
look at that every year.
Next question, 2014, how much we collect for the excess profit?
I don't know those numbers. We'll get it for you.
So who's gonna be getting for you? You? Okay, good. Thank you.
You want to know how much are we anticipating getting? Or how
Yes,
much?
2014.
We'll get it.
Because this is a 2015 already.
We'll get it. We don't. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. Was there anything else?
Is there any other?
That I had? No, is there?
That's it? Okay. Matt, you're up. Oh, several. He's got 4 items.
Three ordinances, one resolution.
3 ordinances. Which is the first one? 3A?
It is 3E, actually.
3E.
-065. It's an ordinance adopting amendments to the land development ordinance expanding the R1A zoning district in Ward A.
So this is an ordinance to expand the R1A zoning district in Ward A. This was something that was started back in 2007, tried to continue again in 2009, but was, at that time, it wasn't a priority for one reason or another. And now we brought it back and thought that this particular area should be zoned R1A. And what R1A is, if you are not familiar with it, it is it's basically R1, but the minimum lot size is 40 by 100. So this is a district that's made with the intent of preserving larger lot homes that have, a sort of historical or architectural elements that are in place and exemplify the history of the area.
Okay, questions?
Okay, no questions on 3E. Next item.
Right, we have the Morris Canal Amendment for the TOD West District.
City Ordinance 15-066. Okay, Matt.
And this is, this has several small amendments to the Morris Canal plan. Primarily, though, we're looking at the TOD West sub-district, which stands for Transit-Oriented Development West. And in this, we expanded the permitted uses to include work-live spaces, retail, residential. And secondly, and more importantly, there is a bonus provision put in place that increases the permitted density from 110 units per acre to 170. And this bonus includes a height of 5 stories and 55 feet to 7 stories and 80 feet. And it requires that there's a 5% of the units set aside for affordable, or 3 units total, whichever is greater.
Okay. Yeah. So now, this one, 110 units per acre to 170 units. So in other words, 60 units they can want to build. Correct?
I'm sorry?
Yes. Yeah, 60 units. But you select 5% for affordable housing. So now, where the number come from the 5 instead of the 10%?
This was a number that we had come to planning, and we presented it to the community, and then they were in support of. I'm not sure why it was more, but
which community you present?
We presented it to the community in Morris Canal. Actually, this plan is very unique where it has that, and we gave notice to the community about this amendment, and they were in support of it.
And also, you make a definition of affordable housing unit. The affordable housing is a low income or middle income? Which one is it?
It's low moderate income, so
Income-wise and income level.
yes,
So how much?
I believe it's 80% of the area median income.
So that means
That means, well, I think it's around, say,
40,000.
yes. It depends on the size of the family, but
It's all HUD guidelines, right?
yes, it's HUD guidelines. So, say the median income is
But median income based on Hudson County. That's what you mean, right?
actually Jersey City, Hudson County as well. Yeah, they're the same actually.
Same, only different.
more specific to a specific tract.
Yeah.
No, it's actually on the
So now,
county
when you
basis.
say middle income, well, low income, so depend the area. Can
Yeah.
be this area, middle income can be 6-figure, and when we go to different area,
No.
middle income means can be,
Not at all. No, it does not mean that.
doesn't mean that for citywide.
Yes.
So around the $40,000-$50,000 a year?
You are right, but it depends on the size of the family. So, say a 2-family household makes a median income of $60,000 in the city. 80% of that for a 2-family is what they have to make to qualify. They have
So
to make
now-
80% or less.
Say Jersey City, Hudson County, but isn't HUD, is this not a HUD mandate?
Yes, but they specify to counties throughout the whole nation.
Matt, you can send them the link.
Yeah, I can.
Table, because there's a table and then it breaks it down.
Correct.
By members of the family and where it's.
Correct.
He'll send you a link with the information, shows the income guidelines for HUD. Yeah.
Now, this is my major concern is that they get from the city of Jersey City, I'm like a favor to like affordable housing, tax abatement. Always I say, low income housing, yes, I support it. But do we have some kind of system, city of Jersey, to go out, check that really they provide 3 or some units for low income zones. Are there any way systems we have to check that really follow that?
They will supply reports. There's affordable housing on site in some cases where they do that. Beyond that, I am not aware.
I mean, they are supplied to which department? Housing authority or?
Marianne, do you know that question?
What is the question?
I think it is to community development, yes.
What sort of systems are in place
They-
to check compliance with the affordable housing requirements of a plan like this?
So far, the affordable housing that the city's created through funding in the community development department is checked through staff and community development. And now, if there's something that's created outside of that, then it will be through staff at HEDC. Right now, it's all community development staff.
See, now my major concern is that.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
Let me ask you a question, Matt.
Yes.
Before the 5% of affordable unit was added, was there anything for affordable or this?
No, actually, there was, this was going to come before you guys with the same increase in density back in December of last year, but it was tabled, I think internally, to come up with this, this affordable housing component.
To come up with it because it didn't exist before?
Yes. Yes.
And so, based on, I guess, the calculation, all they could squeeze out is 3 units?
No. So it's
Affordable
it's
or 5%?
it's 5% or 3 units, whichever is greater.
Depends on the lot.
Yeah. So I mean, this is for a sub-district. This might be, this amendment, I think at this time is maybe tailored to a specific site, but it is for the whole sub-district.
I just realized I actually worked on it.
You did what?
Yes,
We
Diane.
wanted to make sure that there would be a floor.
Okay.
And that, so if there would be a certain number of units that we could count on being built. So if the number of total units built fell below a certain amount, that it would never be less than 3.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
So now, when we just 5%, it sounds like a lot, but let's put it this way. This project is able to build 60 more units. Let's say each unit is $500,000 condo. That means this developer will benefit almost $30 million. And if we give to $30 million. Now, if they give 3 units $500,000, only we get $1.5 million. You know what I'm saying? So now, my concern is, I have a problem with that. 5% is very low that what they get benefit out of it. You know, they should have to at least 10%. You know,
the
from
minimum.
the 10%, the minimum. 10%, but they're not going to provide the maximum because they're always going to provide the minimum. So why is that if they provide a 10%, 5% the medium, 5% the low income, sounds great. I think that's what's supposed to be that what mayor tried to head to for 2016.
I'll respond to that. I mean, I worked on this with planning and with the developer. We had our financial guys at W Financial look at the pro forma that was provided. We ran through the numbers, and we actually agreed that this particular project can't sustain more than 5%. The economics just don't work. Because you have to look at, the investors have to get a certain return on investment, not initially and over the life of the project. And there's a lot that goes into this. So the analysis that you're describing doesn't take into all the factors, doesn't take into account all the factors that are involved. And we felt that this was very tight, and that 5%
Yes, I mean, this project, if you to reiterate, it did not have an affordable component at one point, and the density at that time was needed to make this project, possible. So at this point, we came back with the affordable housing component. It still works.
You know what? You represent the city of Jersey City. Don't worry about develop too much. Worry about the people of Jersey City, I do. Yes. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Matt.
All right, another one?
Yeah, another one here.
Yes. 3G.
Which is ordinance 15-067. It's the Tidewater Basin Redevelopment plan amendments to allow medical offices.
This is a very small amendment to the Tidewater Basin redevelopment plan to add the permitted use of medical office. It's different than office and that which is already permitted, and there was a need for that use. And there is a cap that the medical office can only be up to 1,500 square feet.
So are they coming, are they connected with like medical center care point with these docks, or what is this?
So this was this was generated by a applicant who is a reconstructive dentist, and he received planning approval to be in a space in the Tidewater Basin redevelopment plan as an interim use, and we felt that it was a worthy thing to have there, and that we should allow it as a permitted use. So that's what generated this amendment.
Any other questions?
Yes. The resolution. I don't know the number. It's 15318. Yeah, that's right.
Resolution Q. Resolution 15-318. 10Q.
All right, this is a resolution to authorize a study to look at the condition of 23 vacant buildings for possible incorporation into the vacant building redevelopment plan. The properties are located all over Jersey City. Some are in Ward E. There's a large amount that are actually in Ward F. And there are some in the Heights Ward D as well.
Yeah, we have a full. The buildings located in the Heights. You know. But now, my next question, this is one of the issue. You know, there's so many. You know, but why you have to select only this one? Because when I see that by internet, they have some vacant building have a worse condition than what we have here in the list. I like to put you more. You know, you too, right?
Some of them are on the, Councilman,
Yeah.
these 23 properties are from the public offices abandoned list. That's it's from the public offices abandoned list. Originally it was 56 properties, it's now 23. The idea of the city, through Anthony Cruz and Dave Downey's office, is to add properties to the public offices list.
So
This is the APRA list?
Yes,
they're gonna put you the more, right?
yes.
So the process is that you come up with a list of, I'm gonna put it in English, what I think I understand, of really poorly maintained properties. And you say, these are all look awful and horrible and you don't do a good job. And then you send letters out and some of those people say, wait a minute, I'm gonna fix it, or
They have to
whatever.
qualify it as abandoned.
Yeah.
6 months, there's a qualification that you declare them abandoned, and then if there's no response, we then put them on the abandoned list. It has to be a published list. This list has been the existing list since 2011. The city's finally doing something positive with it. That's why this legislation is very important.
Good job. Please. Good job. You fight for the public. Great. I changed my mind. Good job. Keep the good one. Put a couple of more, okay? That's what I'm looking for, okay?
Director Redfield? Okay.
Resolutions, I could do the tire one, 15-341.
Z14.
Z14. It's a resolution authorizing the award of an open-ended contract to Klinger Tire and Auto Service for automotive tires for the Department of Public Works Division of Automotive.
That is resolution.
Z14. Resolution 15-341.
Correct, this is for 43 different tires that the city uses for our fleet of over 1,000 vehicles, including the parking authority fleet that we now are in charge of. Some of them are passenger tires, fire truck tires, SUVs. The contract amount is an open-ended bid. It's for $421,000. Last year, we spent about $208,000 on tires. Klinger Tire is a local vendor, and he was the lowest bidder.
There are any questions? Next item?
2014, we spent the 208, right?
Correct.
Okay. But then, why we ask for 421?
Well, it's an open end. Not that we're going to spend that, but yeah, just in case there's emergencies or a need for us to replace tires beyond what the scope is. That's.
Double the amount?
I think we did this last year. We said the same thing last year. We left it open-ended, we only spent.
Yes, right. But I mean, when you allocate, we spend the 200, but you allocate the $400,000 of double that what we spend it. That actually, if it's 1/3, we understand.
We have our budget here, we changed them.
Yes.
We already had this, so.
I think this was not sure. We have to go this one, different category, right?
Is this on?
This one is operating.
Yeah.
It's not pretty good.
Want to make a note of that? Concern? Next item.
I have the irrigation contract, 15-336. I don't have the letter number. Right. This is the maintenance of the irrigation systems at numerous city-owned facilities. Correct. Includes the startup service, the year-round service, parts. There's 20 locations. There's a list attached. This was the lowest bidder. Actually, it's less than last year. Last year, the amount was $80,000. This vendor came in at a lower bid of $77,000, and it's for all our city sprinklers, even City Hall sprinkler. You probably saw them working on it recently.
Is it, when you see the country, like a $77,000.
Correct.
That include the $15,000 for parts allowance. $15,000 for parts. Yeah.
Yes.
How much actually we spend the last year for parts?
I don't have that breakdown. I could get it for you, Councilman.
Yes.
Last year, the total contract was $80,000. Some parts are allowed, some go beyond the scope.
So last year we spent
$80,000.
$80,000.
Correct.
So in other words, last year we spent at least $15,000 part.
I will get you those numbers. I don't have them specifically with me tonight.
You know, that's the way the contract's worded.
Yes.
So $50,000 allowance for the part.
Yeah.
So my question is that, when we put you like those kind of numbers, allowance, somehow the contractor, the vendors, they maximize the spend of those kind of dollars because they see their money. So I try to limit their spending, you know what I'm saying? Because when you get allowance, even though not necessary to change, they're willing to change because they can make money for that. So that's what I want to know. Actually, how much we spend, you say $80,000. That means last year we put your pot for $15,000 allowance. That means they fully spend $15,000. In other words, that's the case. All the sprinkler system in the Georgia City have to be good, fine condition, working condition, have to be. But when I see passing by, no, it's not. That's what I'm saying, you know. So we got to keep an eye for that part of it, you know.
Understood.
Okay, that's it. Other than that, fine.
Next item?
Resolution 15. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman.
Right?
Yes.
But I see that they're not doing some things. Why is that? Meaning, City Hall is 300.
Well, that's just a.
MLK Center is 0. How
Because there's no sprinkler system there.
Oh, okay,
if
so
you see
this
there's
is
a
just-
zero there. Not yet. There's some capital improvement for some of those centers to get sprinklers this year. But right now, there is no sprinkler system, so there's no service there.
So all the places that say 0, like Mary Benson.
Correct.
They don't have a sprinkler system?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. The resolution 15-343. It's the,
16?
yes. This is the extension for the janitorial services at the Public Safety Communication Building. It's a 1-month extension. Right, this is where the bids were rejected on April 22nd. I believe within 2 weeks, they're gonna rebid, Bob, if I'm not mistaken. And this is an extension on the janitorial services for the communication center.
That's called 10Z15.
15 and 16 are both extensions.
Exactly.
Services
For
until we
center
rebid that.
services. Correct.
Okay, no questions? Nope. Thank you, Director. Jerry? Someone else, help me, Mary Ann. After Jerry.
Director,
Make it fast.
just an off-the-book question, are you gonna try to get those cameras up to the booths?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, 10Z3. I have 7 this evening. First one.
10Z3.
Yeah?
Resolution 15-330. This is for the Bulletproof Vests Partnership Program.
Yes, this is a grant for us to purchase additional vests for our new hires, and the vests have a 5-year shelf life. Okay.
10Z3.
Okay.
Any questions on Z3? Hearing none, next item.
This is for the new hires.
Yeah, and I saw that, yeah, another resolution.
The next one's for purchase. I'll get to that in a couple
Oh,
minutes.
okay, but I mean different, the best,
Vests are the same.
same, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Next one is 10Z4.
Which is 15-331.
Yeah.
This is accepting the grants from Hudson County Conducted Energy Device, CED, for assistance program administered through the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office on behalf of the New Jersey Office of Attorney General.
This is for a purchase of 10 tasers for the police department. These units will be used by the emergency service unit. It's a pilot program. There'll be 10 units in the field. The guys will not carry them on their belts. They will be located in the trucks if needed. They will need a supervisor's authorization to use the taser. And once the taser is activated, it activates a camera. So there'll be a recording of every time the taser is used.
So any risk to the city of Jersey?
I'm sorry?
Any risk of the liability risk?
Liability?
Yeah,
There's a camera.
There's a camera.
so cameras, right?
Next item?
10Z5.
Resolution 15-332 is a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Johnson Communications for the purchase of and installation of a VEA IP phone system under state contract with the Department of Public Safety, Division of Fire.
Yeah, this is to replace the telephone service for the fire department. When it was upgraded a few years back under the city, fire department was left out. We're still using the old Executone type phones. There's no replacement parts. There's no increasing the system, so it needed to be upgraded. This will include public safety headquarters as well as the 15 fire locations. Yes.
Questions? Hearing none? Next item?
10Z6.
Resolution 15-333. It's a resolution authorizing the award of a contract with Atlantic Tactical of New Jersey for second chance ballistic vest under state contract with the Department of Public Safety, Division of Police.
This is for the purchase of 60 additional vests, and it's all under grant money.
Next item?
10Z7.
10Z7.
10Z7, this is resolution 15-334. Resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Gold Type Business Machine for the replacement of computer equipment and hardware, state contract for Department of Public Safety, Division of Police.
Yes, this is for the CCTV section. We had a water pipe that broke, did a lot of damage. We got a quote to do some repairs down there, and the quote was outrageous. We did some research, and we found that to move the CCTV operation, be more cost-effective, we're actually moving it up to the main dispatch floor. We had 4 unused consoles there. We're moving the equipment up, and for $43,000, they will now be upgraded and moved up to the main dispatch floor. That's correct.
Hearing none?
10Z10.
Resolution 15-337, resolution authorizing an agreement with GTBM Inc. for providing maintenance and support services for the Department of Public Safety, Division of Police, existing audio-visual systems, and district digital signage systems application created by GTBM Inc., a proprietary system.
Again, it's the communication center. This is for the maintenance of all those large monitors you see, as well as the monitors that are located in the precincts.
I don't mind, but, we need, right? So this is, but why they come back to, this is middle of the May. They're supposed to come in January, the contract actually, we allowed the January 1st, 2015 to December 30, so 5 months late to
Yes.
City Council. Why, any reason?
We have pulled it several times. We have gone back and forth to get a better price on it and to do some research. Again, we were saddled with a lot of this proprietary hardware and software equipment, and we tried to make a change, but at this point we can't. So that's why we're so late.
Okay.
10Z11.
338, resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Millennium Communications for the installation and configuration of the Cisco Fiber Links under state contract for the Department of Public Safety, Division of Police.
Yeah, this is fiber optic that had to be run to the new West District to get them up and running. I still don't know when the district will be open. We're still waiting for the okay. So we're just as anxious as everybody else to get in there.
But Robert PA said maybe 3 months, at the end of this month. What happened? He didn't say the year that.
June is looking like a realistic date now.
But let me ask you this one.
Yes, sir.
The fiber cable, 3,500, 3,500, is 3,500 what it means? No, you see that? The list of that, what kind of service they're gonna provide. Page 102. Yeah. They say they give all the price for that, each item. They say fiber cable 6, 3,500, 3,500. What that means? 3,500 linear foot? Or what is that?
I'm not sure. I'll have to get interpretation from technical section.
So my concern is that this is my things. What are they gonna? They're gonna put in the fiber optic cable inside the building. What that means? This actually whole project.
It's run underground and into the building.
Into the building.
Yeah.
So 3,500. What is it? My prices are so cheap. That's why I'm wondering.
Per foot.
Per foot?
It's only 72 cents.
Fiber optic cable for 72
I know.
foot. So cheap sounds like.
I'd have to get you a breakdown. Oh, sure.
You know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Because its number is very high, but cost is so cheap. So I scratch my head. What is the for?
You overpay, you get on us. We get a good price, and you still break our chops. Can't win with you, Councilman.
My concern is that 3,500. When you say the linear foot, that means you guys gonna put in that your fiber optic cable inside the building, which is already a whole sheetrock so everywhere. That means, in other words, you gotta make holes, you gotta line between the sheetrock. That's another cost for taxpayer. If they plan to put in lay down the cable, that bill should be not come out this one now. You know what I'm saying? They should be, those kind of should come out like a year ago.
Right.
See, that's why I want to make sure this is just a fiber optic cable from the street to building, or
I'll get you a full explanation.
you know what I'm saying? I just want to make it clear for that part, okay? Because we prove after this one, if you guys come back again, oh, installation, we have to put it in on inside the building, costs another $800,000, $900,000. Then something wrong somewhere. Okay? You're gonna give an answer for that, right? Okay.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Can we have Mary Ann?
I have a repeat item. It is the MGM, second reading.
Okay. Second reading ordinance 4B, City Ordinance 15-051.
Mary Ann, I'm gonna ask you to, wait, Councilperson Allen's not here. So is there any other city employees here who are here to speak? Okay, let's just take it from the top.
Just one question, 4B.
4B.
Second reading 4B, just one.
I was going to come back.
That's your ward.
Steve Mill, do you want to talk about the paper mart resolution?
Why do we have so much first reading ordinance?
There's 3 withdrawn.
And we had 3 weeks in between meetings. So we were working very hard over those 3 weeks.
What's the item?
The one he's talking about is 10C8, yes.
Resolution 15-335, it's a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Paper Mart Inc. for the purchase and delivery of copy paper and envelopes under state contract for Department of Administration and Administrative Services.
Okay, it's a paper contract.
We do every year for copy paper, various kinds, inter-office envelopes, state contract. Well, it's state contract. State contract. And it's the vendor we've been using for several years. With no problem.
Everybody knows you're a very tough man. You're really strong, top of every issue to you have a good negotiator price-wise, but not. My question is that years ago, it's like a copy paper. Those kind of items usually purchased from the local vendor, City of Georgia City.
No. We don't have local vendors to purchase from for this. That's the problem.
We have not anymore because the state. Because since that, actually, most small local vendors closed the business.
The local one was Johnson.
Yes.
They moved out of town and they don't bid on these at all anymore. So, unfortunately, there are no local vendors that can provide all of these different types of paper, cardstock, colors, all under one thing. So this is a state contract. What the local vendors should do is go through the process to get on a state contract. That would be the procedure they should try and follow. Inter-office, inter-department envelopes.
Oh.
The ones you send if you want to send something from one
Yeah,
council.
but they cannot print in Jersey City? Or cannot provide by Jersey City local vendor?
Not at that price, no.
Not at that price.
No. No, that's the difficulty on that.
And actually, how much you spent last year then?
Last year was less. This is sort of an open-ended contract again, where we probably won't spend that much, but we don't know for sure. Similar to the tires that we talked about earlier, it's the same kind of a thing.
Yeah, we understand, open in the country, but last year, how much actually we spent?
I have that on the fact sheet, I think. Let's see.
Steve, because we are budget hearing, so I'd like to get some numbers from you.
Steve, can you provide the councilman
Last year's number? Sure.
Yeah, get it to him after the meeting. That'd be great. Get it to him by tomorrow.
Members that understand, the reason I ask how much you guys spent the last year is that one simple reason, because we are budget hearing. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure that number you get, actually how much you spend, I want to make a consider for the this year 2015 budget. That's what I want to know. You understand? Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right?
No, they're still trying to work it out. They'll send, they're working on it. They'll send it out. Mary Ann.
Mary Ann, here. 4B, City Ordinance 15-051. It's adopting the amendments to the Morgan Grove Marin MGM redevelopment plan.
Yeah. Jeremy called me and said that some questions came up at the last meeting and wanted me to attend to see if we can go over them again, if there's any more questions. It was on the acquisition. Yeah. On page 3 of the redevelopment plan. The paragraph reads, it's paragraph F. To maximize the goal of one of the redevelopment plan's objectives is to maximize the participation of the private sector by allowing for development on a variety of different sizes of lots, so to minimize the need for any acquisition. Sorry.
Catch up with where you are.
Page 3.
Page 3, letter F.
Development plan.
Letter F, 3F.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is actually some boilerplate language. This plan was adopted in 2007. And what this paragraph really means is that anybody that owns a lot within this redevelopment plan has the ability to develop it. They can develop it and conform. If they can conform with the redevelopment plan and develop it, they can move forward and develop it on their own. This plan doesn't force anybody to be acquired by eminent domain by saying we want 100 by 100 lot and you only own 25. Everybody that owns a lot can develop it and move forward, and that's what this says.
Choose not to.
If they choose not to, this plan was done at a time before the current law allows for areas to be designated in redevelopment as non-condemnation areas. This plan was done at a time where the state law didn't allow that option. If it was designated in need of redevelopment, the city has the option to acquire. Right now, that option is available on all these properties, and you don't have to move forward with it. And based on this statement here and the zoning itself, anybody that owns any lots within this land can move forward in redevelopment on their own. They're not forced to undergo any eminent domain.
The city could.
The city always could. By that law existing and us designating it in need of redevelopment, that's the purpose of that designation, to give the city the ability, if we need to ever move forward, and move forward in redevelopment. But that doesn't often happen, and this plan has been in place with this acquisition plan since 2007. So that's, I don't know if you have any more questions, I'll answer them.
Can you explain to me, because you're not really saying anything for me. I need you to tell me, it allows the city to do what? Take the property and develop it, or what are you saying? I don't understand exactly what you're saying.
The redevelopment law will allow for properties to be acquired acquired by the redevelopment agency at fair market value. They would get assessments and purchase the property. And that process has been in place since this law was in place in the 70s. And there are some places that in different parts of the state and country that have different laws or similar laws that will set a redevelopment area and require that it be developed by one person in totality. That's not how we do this, and that's what this statement says. The current owner can move forward in development in conformance with the plan. And that's how a lot of, basically 50% of the city that's in a redevelopment plan area is currently, that's how it is, because that's what that law said.
Candace was asking because I didn't understand the question, and if they don't choose to develop, that's the question.
If they don't choose to develop, then it's, they don't choose to develop. They could sell it, they could develop it, and if the city finds that the property is lagging behind, where other properties are redeveloping and this is still a blight on the neighborhood, the city can move forward and acquire and designate a developer. That's the way all of our redevelopment plans are that were adopted before 2 years ago. 2 years ago, the state law changed and allowed there to be areas in need of redevelopment without condemnation. And so far, the ones you have seen have been recommended to be without condemnation. The Garfield Avenue, I believe, is one of those. But these plans from 2007, that gives the city the ability to move forward if they want to. And so what I did to make sure that this map is clear, we changed, we made the map that you have, a new map, that states which properties may be acquired, because there's no plans to move forward and acquire any of these. It's likely that that will not happen. But if there is an issue with any parcel of property, then the state law allows the city that power and authority to move forward.
We understand.
Okay.
We deleted that F.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
simple.
what I
You can,
requested.
you can delete it if you want. All it really, like I said, all it says is that, makes it clear that the zoning will allow any individual owner to develop their parcel. That's all it says.
We understand that.
Okay.
Can we make us all feel great to can delete that
Delete
F?
it? Okay.
Good.
Wait a minute.
Wait, if you delete it,
It doesn't change substantively what my.
So in other words, we
No,
say.
it doesn't.
One at a time,
But I don't know what your problem is. You have to tell me what you want.
My problem is in any use of eminent domain for not building really substantial things. That's a personal belief of mine, and so I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable with the city having that option. And I realize that it happened before, but my vote's coming now, so I asked to remove that and to make it like all the ones that we've voted on since we've come in.
So you want to
Request that the acquisition map changes to have no acquisition. That's what you're asking? Okay.
acquisition and eminent domain are two different things to me. Acquisition means you approach the owner and you work out a deal and you purchase the property. But eminent domain means that you control that process. To me, eminent domain means that I come to the owner and tell them that I'm purchasing this property for XYZ dollars. So acquisition and eminent domain are two different things to me. Am I right? I mean, would somebody explain to me, am I right?
No, they are the same thing.
Coming in here.
Come
Come on, Joanne.
No, acquisition in this instance means the same thing as eminent domain. You acquire by use of eminent domain. I mean, the city could always, or the agency could always negotiate with an owner for a voluntary purchase of property. Eminent domain, well then, yeah, right. But once you have, but within the meaning of the redevelopment, it means acquisition by eminent domain. You don't have to put in a plan that someone can voluntarily sell a piece of property to the city and the city can voluntarily buy it. You can do that any day of the week. People sometimes do that. They do it in lieu of a foreclosure. They do it because they want to make a gift to the city. I mean, you don't need a redevelopment plan. You don't need eminent domain to do that.
Legal question on the process. If the city moves, or the redevelopment agency moves forward with any potential acquisition, does it go through, what are the steps? Because I guess the question is, will the council be the deciding factor on this? And if not, then make your change.
The agency has no authority to acquire a piece of property by eminent domain unless it is stated in the redevelopment plan. The city has, independent of redevelopment, the city has the right to acquire property for municipal public purposes, such as parks or streets or a police station or whatever. That has nothing to do with redevelopment. This is a very specific. That has nothing to do with redevelopment. The city always has the right for, yes, but we're talking about acquisition in furtherance of a redevelopment plan specifically. And that it has to be in the redevelopment plan and on a to-be-acquired list identified as a possibility that the city would proceed. Now, just because a property, I think this is to Mary Ann's point, just because a piece of property is on a to-be-acquired list in a redevelopment plan, we have properties all over the city in all sorts of redevelopment plans that are on the to-be-acquired list. It doesn't compel acquisition, it doesn't compel eminent domain, and if the agency were to undertake the acquisition of property that is on the to-be-acquired list, they still have to follow the eminent domain law, which requires you to make an offer, which requires the property to be appraised, it requires negotiations, and if they fail, then you go into, you file a complaint, and then ultimately a jury will determine what the value is. So, I don't know if that answers your question, but,
properties that may be acquired. What it does do is it does encourage the current owners to move forward and redevelop. We have a specific example, like we can point to across the street from City Hall. The redevelopment area across the street from City Hall, that strip and the Majestic property sat vacant for many, many years, right outside the door of this building. And it was in a redevelopment plan area that did not have the ability for acquisition. It was designated an area of need of rehabilitation. When the roof came down of the theater, it was reassessed and established an area of need of redevelopment. And it wasn't until then that the owners and it forced the rehabilitation and the redevelopment of that site, because there was nothing to encourage them or to move along the process. So that is what has been working in Jersey City for all these years, to be honest. And like I said, this plan does not take any redevelopment ability away from the small lot owners that are in this area. They can still move forward and develop. So, yeah.
I just don't agree.
So, I don't want to belabor the point at this point. So,
let me,
this has been discussed at the last meeting, it's discussed at this meeting. The Corporation Council suggested that it wouldn't be a substantive change if we removed and struck that language from the ordinance. Is that still the opinion of the council's law department's office?
Do you think I am going to contradict my boss just because he's not here? If that was his opinion, no. Not on television anyway, no, I'm only kidding.
Changing the map to make all of the properties not to be acquired would. That's what my discussion with Jeremy was, yes.
Yeah. He's looked at this more carefully than I have, so I don't want to give him off the cuff.
If the map changed to the map that the properties in gray may be acquired, if that changes to all that no properties would be acquired or could be acquired, then we'd have to go back to first reading, we'd have to go back to the planning board, we'd have to start over. Yes, because that's a substantive change. I mean, in this particular case, if we know this is how you feel, we will point that out and assess the acquisition list and every plan that comes before you. Maybe in this particular case, since there was so much time spent on this amendment and everyone finally agrees with the amendment, this acquisition list has been in place since 2007 and hasn't changed.
Which is why I didn't know about it till I saw the details.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because that is a question I ask with every redevelopment plan. That comes forward, so, thanks.
Okay.
So what's the verdict for Wednesday?
Well, I guess they'll have to
You're asking me how I
make a motion on Wednesday to amend it, or
deal with this on Wednesday. Okay. From the top.
reading ordinances. Any questions on items 3A through 3D? Hearing none, 3E, F, and G were touched on earlier. How about 3H and...
Chime in now.
What,
Who's up?
what item?
Let me be, oh, sorry.
Go, go.
For B, on 3B.
3B?
Yeah, 3B. Can we change, because the time is till midnight on the festivity, the parade, but we need to change that to 10.
Where,
On I'm sorry, the first reading orders.
no, but that's not that one.
Oh,
You're right, but you're on the wrong one.
where is it at?
That, he's talking about 10U. You're talking 10U.
This is just the cultural affairs back on.
Allows for online permitting, right?
Which one?
This is,
All applications for events are through the cultural affairs. It's a central intake ordinance.
I asked you this 2 years ago. I'm so happy to see this on the agenda.
Bob, could I ask you something? Concerning 3B. All of,
Wait, what is it? Joyce and you then?
culture affairs would be responsible for taking applications, right, for all events?
Yes.
Now, when when you have an event, you have to go to the fire department.
That's right.
You have to go to, the other departments, the chief. So what are we doing about that?
Okay.
Because what, it's still.
It's basically to address that issue. Marcos V, Deputy Mayor for purposes of everyone. It's precisely to address that issue. It's to, as the councilwoman said, where does everyone go when they're looking for a permit? Just as a general question, they come to City Hall. So instead of City Hall saying, go here, go here, go here, go here, Cultural Affairs is going to take in the application and it's going to walk through the process with them. Doesn't mean that you cannot or that you don't need fire department approval or police approval, but Cultural Affairs is going to walk through the process and make sure that all those festivals, carnivals, etc., depending on the type of event that it is, that they have the proper permits and coordinates with all the agencies, because sometimes, you know, some agencies are left out of the loop and then all of a sudden the application didn't contain particular information, and say the health department shows up and figures out there's too many people here, we need police. The Cultural Affairs is going to be that agency that is going to coordinate all the agencies together to make sure that everything goes well.
I put in an application at a culture fairs, it's gonna be their responsibility to, or
It's the applicant's responsibility, but Cultural Affairs is going to walk through the process and make sure that they go through the requirements as the city needs.
One at a time, one at a time.
Go ahead.
Joy, Danny was next. And then,
Affairs takes the responsibility of everything. You know, because right now, Cultural Affairs does this, and you still have to go to police, to the police department, to the fire department, to Health and Human Services. And I don't think it makes sense.
Well, here's the thing, and council can chime in. It's the city is not gonna. If the applicant doesn't fulfill their application requirements, then then the applicant cannot go through the process. What's happening right now, even though what it's supposed to happen is that everyone comes through Cultural Affairs and gets the information, sometimes you do have people that for whatever reason they're used to going to one particular agency and start the process there. What we're making with this is that we're making sure that everyone knows that going forward the process starts at Cultural Affairs. The application is going to walk through.
We're going to allow Cultural Affairs to make a recommendation. I know what you're trying to talk, using technology to maybe scan something to a different department so they don't have to travel to 30 Montgomery Street, to Linden Avenue, to traveling all over the city to get something done. So Cultural Affairs will take this in, and then they'll make a recommendation on how we can streamline it. Can we use technology to start sending stuff to, emailing to get stuff complete, so the people don't have to do all the traveling around like you're suggesting. Okay. It's a bit of a process, but.
Councilperson Coleman, then Councilperson Yun, Bogiano.
I want to say to that is that I got so many complaints about that process that I did it myself. In other words, I took the application and I started that process myself as a councilwoman. It took me 8 weeks And I can't tell you how many visits and no phone calls, because if you go and the right person is not at the office that you're going to, there's no one to sign, so you have to come back and.
Clarify, because there's a nuance here that
You clarify again so that you can clarify what I'm asking you. There's no reason to walk us through the process. The application is self-explanatory. It tells you where you have to go. So we know how to walk through the process. The problem is walking through it, we can't weather the storm, which means.
Why don't we just fill out?
So you didn't answer my question. I want to know, my question is it going to streamline all of that I just said? Because we already know how to walk through the application. Is going to Cultural Affairs going to streamline getting the approvals necessary to have an event?
yes, that's the whole purpose of this. Because the person is going to go to Cultural Affairs, and there will be a person designated in Cultural Affairs who's going to intake the application and is going to make sure that all the proper approvals are in place before the city is saying then this particular event can move forward. What the reason why I'm saying is that the city is not taking the responsibility for the application is because the applicant has to make sure that they provide the information that the city requires, because there are different ordinances or state laws that apply and that put the responsibility on the individual applicant. That's the only thing that I'm clarifying, is that we'll do the intake and it's basically a concierge service. Make sure that everything is in place.
I'm hearing the disconnect. I'm gonna try and summarize what I think you're saying and answer all my colleagues' questions.
One-stop shop.
If they go to bring that to the person, are they gonna be able to get signatures on their behalf? So nobody has to go get 500 signatures from 32 different people anymore.
Correct. Unless, and for example, they will identify, for example, a particular event may need a meeting with, a certain agency. So they'll highlight that to make sure that all those issues with that particular agency are clarified before the signature is made to move forward.
Deputy Mayor. When the city of Jersey 2 years ago restructured under the new administration, this administration, when they restructured the department, I'm the one of the few in this council against that structure, because when you put in that all the festival, flea market, all those license to RRC, I say you guys got a whole mess, because the cultural fair department, the city of Jersey, provide that service many years. And then when you get we see the new deputy mayor in the city of Jersey like you, has, I expect, come an innovation idea, the way you're looking for. Because today, if you're gonna do any small event, the people who organize go to cultural fair now, to get it, and they go to the police department, fire department, and they go to health. That's they have to do their job. I expect from you, cultural fair department, and they have representative each fire department, the police department, some representative that they're under the cultural fair, like some kind of team, task force, so they're able to provide one-stop shopping whole service. Instead, go around, the people go 30 Montgomery Street, and one John Street, all of the place for the one small event. That's why councilmen say almost 8 weeks to get all the signature approved by every department.
Right, and that's what this ordinance allows cultural affairs to do. And what I'm clarifying is that there may be instances where as they go through the process, they will identify a particular agency that there may need to be a meeting or there may need to be additional information. Just because you go to cultural affairs doesn't mean that it's all done.
He's just giving himself a caveat. He's saying most of them are, 99% of them are fine, but there may be a couple of exceptions.
There may be a deficient application. Information be needed.
We want to see as your work. Seems like you understand how you organize. I want you those things happen. Small business community who interested to open the new business in Jersey City, provide the one-stop shopping service. Okay.
Right.
That's what we're looking for.
Right.
Yeah, the same thing with, yeah, agree.
Yes, you
agree.
understand? You agree, right?
I agree.
Other than that,
agree.
open the bid in Jersey from the building department there. How many parking?
We need one-stop shopping in
One
the
stop,
building
that's
department.
what city needs.
One issue at a time.
You know what I'm saying? So please, innovation team gonna take care of it.
Focus.
Okay, bringing it back here.
Thank
to this
you.
ordinance.
Thank you.
Councilman Bogiano?
I just want to ask, do we have people already in cultural affairs that are qualified to do this, that know the city?
Yes.
We do.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, they have a good team.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I sent you down.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Councilman Ramshaw?
That was my question. I just want to make sure it's going to be a one-stop shop. If I bring my application in and I'm hosting an event downtown, I don't have to, I bring it into cultural affairs, and get it straight on the record. So I give you my application, you'll tell me, right, my check, and I said, thank you, Councilman. So, and I says, okay, I'm having an event at Exchange Place, this is my application, you checked it, it's all filled out. Then they're gonna tell me, come back instead of 8 weeks, come back next week, it's all done. They're gonna get all the signature. That's what I wanna know.
Hopefully, in 99% of the cases, that's what we do.
We take your word. Okay, you come from the innovative idea to try to provide the one-stop shopping service. I'm telling you, a lot of festival events lined up. And we, as council members, we're gonna hear the complaint, then we call you back, these rooms, probably 3 months later.
Right.
You gotta have to be ready for that, okay?
It's not working, and they have to walk up the steps to get a signature.
Good luck.
You take the word of the board.
Good luck.
Thank you. Okay, any other first read? Folks,
Going back to the first reading on 3B, I just wanted, we need to change that from midnight to 10 p.m.
Not 3B though.
Oh, what is it? I have it here as 3B.
No, you.
Kika.
He has a 3B. It's
Am I
not on
here?
3B.
What is this?
It's not on 3B,
You're
Danny.
talking 10U.
10U we talking about.
Is it the Puerto Rican thing?
It's the
You didn't.
10U.
10U, Danny.
anything else on first readings?
No, I got issues.
Surprise.
Come on, let's go. Folks, let's get focused. Come on, what's your ordinance? 3L.
This is the 20-year tax exemption.
This, what's the address of this property? This has been
I thought
withdrawn,
it's been withdrawn.
3L was withdrawn?
Yes.
correct?
Can I address this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is L?
Is it,
Come on up.
Are you just L this?
What's being withdrawn?
Which are the withdrawn ordinances?
3L,
Which one is withdrawn?
3L is withdrawn,
Okay.
3K is withdrawn,
So 3K, 361 Newark Avenue, the developer has decided to forego the abatement and pay conventional, build without the abatement and go conventional.
Okay, you have to say that a little louder for.
Sure. 3K, that's a 10-year tax exemption for 361 Newark Avenue. The developer has decided to forego the abatement and build the project and pay conventional taxes for, that was a project that, yeah, it's not coming back. Right, that's withdrawn, he's gonna build without. Where's Greenland? Okay, the 20-year Greenland, yeah, this is 3L, 20-year tax exemption from Greenland. The only reason that that's being withdrawn is because the attorney for the developer the developer's in Argentina and hasn't had a chance to review the financial agreement and the ordinance, so the attorney doesn't feel that he has the authority to move forward. So we're gonna carry that for one cycle, but that's really just, that will appear before you again. Yeah. M, 30-year exemption for Devimon Newkirk Urban Renewal Entity, 6062 Newkirk Street. I was just informed that you may see this on Wednesday, that it's not exactly going to be withdrawn, but that the developer wants to have another discussion about how the service charge is going to be calculated, and this is why. During the cost-benefit analysis, this is one of the projects that shows the city sustaining a loss if the service charge is at a 10%. It's not a great loss, it's about $7,000. So we are trying to, we don't want the city to sustain a loss. And the mayor and the administration will not recommend an abatement where the city shows a loss. So it's not, the developer doesn't want to withdraw it, but the developer wants an opportunity to meet with us once again to discuss how the service charge is going to be calculated so that it doesn't show a loss and the city not recoups, but coops or gets as much in the way of the abatement as it deserves and it should get in order to cover the loss and pay the proper amount in lieu of taxes.
I mean, you're gonna use that new process that you created, that we talked about before, to calculate the profits or whatever? Yeah, are we gonna use?
Oh, no, that has to do with excess profit. Excess profit is, this is just the annual service charge.
It's a 14% gross revenue, right?
Right. Sure. So the developer's here, he'd like to address it, and I'll turn it over to you.
Is this building occupied? We're currently in negotiation. Right? On this, Roger? Okay, come on up.
I only asked that because I went by it today. It looked like a lot.
So we have a few projects in the area that are going to be affected by this, and so I want to be able to.
There's an existing structure. This is a lot where there's an existing structure. That's a really good question. There's a 3-story existing structure on the lot. So this project is going to build another building on the same block and lot, and they're going to condo out the ownership so that the block and lot of the, so that the land and the existing structure are not part of the abatement. So this will be a new building on the same block and lot where that existing structure is. That's why it's. How can you do that? How can you put a new building where a whole building already is? The existing structure is going to stay on the block and lot. There's enough room on the block and lot to build another structure, but it wasn't really a candidate for a subdivision. So in order to make sure the existing structure wasn't counted as part of the abatement and credited against the pilot, the 2 structures will be owned by condominium form of ownership so that the city makes sure it can kind of bifurcate them.
You wanted to say something? Put it off your chest and then.
So this is we're going to have several projects in that area, and this is probably the fringe area of Journal Square. I mean, it is really how you define an area in need of redevelopment. And so I wanted to bring to the council's attention that sometimes these policies have unintended consequences. And the unintended consequences are that if you fault a project for creating a deficit, it's only because the projected rents are not high enough because it's not in a better area of town. So it would seem to me that the abatement process is to encourage development in those areas where it would not occur, you know?
Okay, so we're not going to debate the merits of it unless it's staying on the agenda.
Well, specifically about this, so this creates a deficit, but it's a good project, and to increase the annual service charge to a higher percentages, it just will overburden the project, and it gets to the point where the abatement becomes there's no benefit to the abatement, and if that's the case, then a developer has to decide: do I move forward with the project, or maybe I just withdraw and not have the burdens of an abatement. You know, and just deal with the market forces.
I just disagree with some statement you just made, because I live in the area. The rents there are unbelievably high. The area is coming back. Mullers is coming in with a tremendous project there. That area is going to explode. It's already exploded. You can't even touch property up there right now.
Right, and Councilman, I agree with you. So what happens is that if the abatement is based upon 10% of the revenue and the rents go up high, that's fantastic. We would.
Fine points of this, and if you're in negotiation, my suggestion for this at this point is if you're still in negotiation, rather than rush the financials before the council on Wednesday, sorry, Roger, I'm going to ask you to wait till the 27th, and we'll bring it back then, and you can present whatever the numbers are that's been worked out with our folks and our.
Negotiate the city hall, you know what I'm saying? And bring back, it's better, instead to do, this Wednesday.
Sure. Well, with your permission, we set up a meeting for tomorrow. We think we can resolve it tomorrow. And if we don't.
We're going to have to look at it for first reading tomorrow and make a vote on it for first reading. And it's really not adequate amount of time to
Fair. So I guess we'll carry it till then?
Carry it to the next meeting, put it on as a clean ordinance in that sense, and we'll make it. Yeah, we're going to have it withdrawn, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
You guys, my colleagues, have any questions about two first reading ordinances that I have on here? Which is 3C. So I'll
Explain to us, right?
Yeah, I explained to you, but just in case anybody has any questions, I want to make sure because I will not be at the next council meeting.
Okay.
So and
you take Michael with you.
So I just want to make sure that there's no questions about it. It's pretty simple. So in today's world, residents who move into rental buildings, high-rise rental buildings, for example, that have parking, are not allowed to get street parking. And the law says that the buildings have to tell the people that they can't get street parking before they sign the lease. What's happening is that nobody's actually telling them. And so then they get into the building, and the only recourse that the person has is that they can break their lease. And that's really expensive to break your lease and then move again and pay for a mover. So all this is doing is saying that to make sure, to give some incentive to the building owners, to say the person needs to sign a piece of paper stating that they understand that they're not eligible for street parking. This is to make sure that they get notified, and that if you don't do that, if you don't keep that piece of paper that the person signed, you'll face a penalty.
Okay. The other ordinance she has is an addition. Am I correct, Councilwoman?
Correct.
That's
3-0.
3-0. It's not on your printed agenda, but that was part of the late items that I gave you with an agenda on top.
And this is to open up parking adjacent to the Powerhouse Arts District. If anybody drives over there, there's construction after construction after construction. There's nowhere for them to park. And Washington Boulevard is, I think, 4 lanes at that point. And one of the lanes is marked, no parking. That's immediately next to the sidewalk. And there's not enough traffic to justify it. So this is going to allow us to change it from no parking to allowed parking during certain periods of time.
Well, we're talking about parking. Can I ask one of the lawyers a question? Does the Port of Authority have the right to come put up signs saying no parking on one of the city streets?
They're working on the road.
Vine Street. The people,
They still have to notify the city. I mean, the Port Authority, if it was a true, you mean the New York, New Jersey Port Authority, when they come and do construction, they still have an obligation to at least notify the city. If the city were to deny them that right, then they may have an argument that their authority would be superior unless there was a health or safety issue involved. But my experience with them is that they at least pay lip service and they come in and apply for permits and let the city know what's going on. Are you suggesting they're just posting signs without any?
New York plates, they put up signs, no parking, and I resent it, and as far as I'm concerned, I want them taken down.
Well, the
I'll speak to
division
traffic.
of parking, yeah, I would. I would argue that they have to come to the city and at least notify the city as to what they intend to do. Now, if the city were to be arbitrary and say to them, well, no, you know, we're not going to do that, and we're going to be able to stop some Port Authority project from going forward, I mean, then we could either get into litigation with them, or we would have to concede that they'd be entitled to it. But I don't think they can just roll into town and start building things without going to our building department and our parking authority, well, now our parking division. I mean, who's posting that? Yes. No, only the governor can do that. Only the governor's staff, his political staff.
Okay, any other questions on Councilwoman's ordinances? Okay. Any other questions on first readings? Hearing.
What's that?
3J, it's a 5-year. That is not being withdrawn. That's 210 9th Street.
210 9th Street, still on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good.
Second readings, any questions? And any of the items? We already spoke about 4B.
Item 10A, Resolution 15302 is a resolution authorizing emergency temporary appropriation. 10B, resolution requesting approval of the Director of the Division of Local Government Services to establish a dedicated trust by rider for accumulated absences.
Okay, keep going.
Okay, 3C, resolution certifying compliance with NJSA 48:5.4, requiring government body of every local unit to have made an annual audit of books, accounts, and financial transactions of the city, Jersey City Parking Authority. We're doing this, council members, because the parking authority was abolished, and it now becomes our responsibility. It's gonna be a one-time deal, because next year they're gonna fall under our regular audit.
So there'll be a second request when we do the transition year budget.
Right.
From July to December, so that'll come under us as well.
Okay, so, all right, so I ask next time.
Okay. Thank you.
Item 3D is a resolution introducing and approving the 2015-2016 budget of Central Avenue Special Improvement District, directing the city clerk to publicly advertise the budget and schedule a public hearing, directing the tax assessor to prepare an assessment roll for properties within the district based upon the budget. 10E is a resolution commemorating the 33rd annual celebration of National Nurses Day. 10F is a resolution creating a lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, and questioning advisory board to guide the city's outreach efforts towards the LGBTQ community.
Councilman?
Why can't this be an ordinance? Joanne? Why
Don't
can't
have
this
the answer to that.
Why can't this be an ordinance as opposed to a resolution?
Well, the city council has specific authority as to what committees they can create. And a standing committee can only be created by executive order of the mayor, or the council if they get a specific statute that allows them to do that.
New Jersey state statute.
Yes. Yes. And there are committees that you can create. You can also create ad hoc committees, I know, which is just for if the council wants to create a committee to study a particular issue for a limited period of time, or you want to conduct an investigation concerning some specific matter. But a standing committee, that is a permanent committee that's in the city code, the council can only create those committees that state law allows you to create.
Has the authority of power to create their own committee to investigate certain issue. In order to do that, as a council, what we have to do, we have to reach the council president, or how we can step. If we ask the council president, he can deny, or he refused to set up a committee, then how would the city council member have to be asked to set up a special committee?
By resolution.
Yeah, it was a resolution. I mean, the council, as a general rule, operates by resolutions. That's how you vote. You vote as a body, not as An individual doesn't do that. Now, you have authorized the council president, I believe it's in the bylaws of the council, to set up certain, or to make appointments to certain types of committees. I'd have to review that, your rules, through the council rules. But ordinarily, the council acts as a body, and a body acts by either resolution or ordinance.
So to set up a special committee, we have to be by resolution.
You need a resolution, and you need a majority of those present. In most cases, I don't know if you'd need a majority of the full council, but you'd need at least a majority of those present at a meeting to create the committee. You can't do it individually.
Just one comment on 10F?
I like your tie.
The title, transgendered, should be transgender, right? Great.
Great.
Yeah, did you get your question answered, Dan? Great.
10G is a resolution appointing Irene Bremer as the new custodian of the petty cash fund for the Division of Accounts and Control. 10H is a resolution appointing Patrice Lambert as a custodian of the petty cash fund for the Division of Purchasing. 10I is authorizing replacement of the lost third-party tax sale certificate, 2014-1125. 10J is a resolution authorizing a refund credit of $28,561 and a reduction in assessment to settle a tax appeal filed by a property owner for 2844-2847 Kennedy Boulevard. 10K is a resolution authorizing the execution of a mortgage subordination agreement affecting the property known as 53 Jewett Avenue. 10L is a resolution authorizing the execution of an execution of a mortgage subordination agreement affecting the property known as 316 Union Street. 10M is a resolution of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City authorizing the business administrator to execute a discharge of the blanket mortgage of Garden State Episcopal CDC and substitute individual mortgages and notes for 4 two-family houses, 8 affordable housing units affecting property known as 291-297 Halliday Street. 10N is a resolution removing a restriction from a deed of conveyance that affects blocks 26404, lot 39, location 34, Martin Luther King Drive. 10O is a resolution removing a restriction from the deed of conveyance that affects block 25602, lot 9, location 108, Martin Luther King Drive.
Quick
10,
question.
sure.
Why they date back like 30 years?
Say again?
They date back about 30 years.
The deed restrictions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the deed restrictions.
They never provided a CO.
So it took
Once
30
the CO
years.
was,
Oh, my God.
once the CO was issued,
Just seems like on both.
they just got the CO recently.
Okay, they were a little slow. All right.
Very slow. It took 30 years.
Oh, my God.
Resolution 10P is a resolution authorizing the City of Jersey City to enter into a polling place agreement with the Hudson County Board of Elections. 10Q was touched on earlier.
Were you able to look into?
I'll do
Okay.
that I'll have the language for you.
We had talked about Our Lady of Mercy, Ward A, how it used to be a polling site and it's no longer, and now the Moose Lodge has like 12 districts in it or something, and there it's really.
Council President wanted me to find out why we cannot utilize Our Lady of Mercy now to go back to it. For like-
Because of don't they got a school there, Frank?
Yeah.
They, again, I don't,
Yeah,
I can
but-
investigate
It's
it.
the place, the location that makes the most sense.
Right.
You know, anywhere else in the ward, if you look around, you can only go to the Moose Hall, and then you have everybody.
I don't believe they used the school. They actually used that portion.
It's
It's
a
not
part
the
of it,
Maria
yeah.
room, but there was another portion.
It was the basement of the school.
It's
basement.
it was the
Yeah.
basement of the school?
Yes. To the right
And now
of
that's
the bridge.
privately owned, that school.
Right.
Same thing
That's the
24.
issue.
Yeah.
And they gave it
Do they
rights.
buy it or are renting it
No,
from the diocese?
they're renting it, but they gave the owner the rights to make the determination. I didn't.
Who's that,
I
Stone
didn't-
Maybe they could move it to the
I
church.
didn't investigate
Move
it
to the
before.
Maria room.
and they done told me, so y'all can go ahead.
As long as
Try,
they're
yeah.
handicap accessible, I don't foresee a problem.
You'll look into it.
I will look into that. 10Q was touched on earlier. 10R is a resolution authorizing the closing of municipal.
Sean, can I ask you something on 10R?
Sure.
This happened last Saturday, today is the 11th. Why did they bother giving it to us? It's already been done. I mean, we're approving.
Without
something.
resolution already.
Weeks in between meetings, Councilman.
This was,
Tell me.
so they missed it in traffic engineering. There was 3 weeks in between meetings. They just got to it late. It was an error on the staff's part, not the applicant's part.
Then it shouldn't even be presented to us. It's already been
So
done.
nobody knows.
There's 3 weeks in between meetings. They assumed, they thought when they processed it, they had last week to give it to you, not realizing there was no meeting last Wednesday.
Deputy Mayor is gonna make sure this never happens again.
Just we want to make sure.
Yeah.
For 10R, 10S, and 10U, they have times closed stopping at 11 p.m., 11 p.m., and midnight, and we had all agreed it's supposed to be 10 p.m.
That was the point that I was trying to.
Yeah, that was the point he was trying to make earlier.
Making a strong point for the last 20 minutes.
Well, put that back to 10 p.m. So can we get those changed, please?
Can we get that amended? Who will do that?
There's supposed to be 10.
Yeah.
We can't do anything with 10R.
Okay, 10S?
I'll call traffic engineering in the morning, get it done. Replacement resos.
S and U, yeah.
We'll have replacement resos for S and U for Wednesday's meeting.
Okay. Let's go to V, 10V.
Okay. 10V is a resolution authorizing the closing of municipal streets. Ogden.
10T.
we handled already.
I'll go back to 10T. As a resolution authorizing closing of municipal streets, McWilliams Place, beginning at 10 a.m. and ending at 6 p.m. Saturday, June 20th, 2015, at the request of the Liberty Humane Society for the purpose of a fundraiser for the Liberty Humane Society. 10U we just touched on, right? 10V is a resolution authorizing.
10 says midnight, we changing that to 10?
We're changing it.
We're changing that to 10. So it's S and U that we need to change, Mr. Business Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. City Clerk.
Deputy. 10V is a resolution authorizing the closing of municipal streets, Ogden Avenue from Griffith Avenue to Bauer Street, beginning at 10 a.m. and ending at 5 p.m. Saturday, September 12th, rain date Sunday, September 13th, 2015, at the request of the Riverview Neighborhood Association for the purpose of a flea market and park festival. 10W is a resolution waiving various permitting fees and requirements in support of PSE&G Energy Strong program.
Can I ask a question this one?
Yes, we have the attorney here for PSC&G, Robert Portobello.
Where is it?
Come on up.
So I'll give you a quick little summary and then let council address. So the Energy Strong program is beginning this year, and I think there's a deadline of December 31st to get this completed. So what the request here is to waive the street opening fees permit. This is not consistent with the ordinance the council adopted 2 months ago. Their budget was prepared last year prior to the council's action. So they made a budget for street resurfacing of a certain amount. Now, we've had this reviewed by our traffic and engineering department to verify what they're committed to doing versus what they are required to do under the old ordinance. So what happened was the street permits we're looking at here, probably around $400,000 is what the request is to waive. Under the old ordinance, the resurfacing that they would have been required to do, which is basically when they cut the street, it's like 18-inch cut, and then would have been 2 feet on one side, 2 feet on the other, to round it off, say 6 feet of resurfacing they would have been required to do. Under the new ordinance, it would be curb to curb. What PSC&G has agreed to do is to do not 6 feet, but do 15 feet. So basically, on one-way street, almost the entire street, if not the whole street, and for the two-way street, go to the center median to the curb. Our engineering department has reviewed all the streets, being worked on. They've estimated that their plan of resurfacing will be $1 million worth of repaving. So it's a net here of $600,000 for our favor in accordance with the old ordinance, not necessarily the new ordinance. So that's what the request is. It affects a large portion of downtown. It affects a portion of Clendenny Avenue and some other streets throughout the city, but downtown is the biggest part.
As you see, we're gonna have a paving like a 78 different streets in the city of Jersey City.
This is being coordinated with the engineering department, so we don't duplicate. That's why some of the streets that you've asked for that may not be on that initial list. Well, I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying in some cases. In some cases. And this is all response to the hurricanes that we've had in recent years.
Oh, that's correct. We've had numerous meetings with the various city agencies to coordinate not only traffic control, but also in particular the paving schedule, because it's clear that the city is irritated by the fact that, at least the appearance and sometimes the reality, that no sooner does a street get repaved than it gets cut open through some new utility connection. And so the PSE&G is going through substantial lengths to work with the city to make sure that that doesn't happen, because that is the particular part of the reason, I think at least, that the ordinance was passed in January. And we certainly don't want to further exacerbate an irritant for the residents of the city.
They have $1.2 million. Is that the worst spent in Jersey City?
No, it's, well, the 1.2 billion, it's a statewide program. Right. I'll get the exact, I don't have the exact calculations for Jersey City. I know it's 12 miles of gas mains that are being replaced, so I don't have the exact figures as far as the cost. But this is a statewide program. I will say, to PSE&G's credit, they did lobby the state, the BPU, to get the funding for Hudson County, because the state did not want to include Hudson County at all in the Energy Strong program. They wanted the funds to go solely to the shore areas, and it was PSE&G that lobbied the state to include Hudson County, and particularly Jersey City, to get included in this program.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, 10X is a resolution authorizing the City of Jersey City to enter into a reimbursement agreement with the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development under the State Works First New Jersey program to provide on-the-job training to volunteers participating from the Hudson County Community Work Experience Program hired as employees by the City of Jersey City. 10Y is a resolution renewing the license agreement loaning the statute of Peter Stuyvesant to Hudson County Community College for an additional year.
Tell them to put it back where it belongs. This is ridiculous. Now we're going on 2 years.
I know.
This is they took it illegally. They had no right to take it, and now that Epps isn't around, and he was agreeing with me that it should have gone back to where it was.
See,
How can we get that, how can we make that happen so they can put the statute back to where it was?
We still need to build the base. I think it's strictly a budget factor right now.
I think there were two issues. We talking about the statues. That's one. Number two issue, we already forgot the Frank Hicks desk. We storage 1 year's contract with one of the wine company, and we not renewed that things yet. So I want to make sure where the most famous Frank Hicks, right?
Yeah.
Had a desk, where are they located now?
I forgot. I know Jeremy was just talking about this 2 weeks ago. So he's doing
But the
thought it was in Jeremy's
contract,
office.
1 year's contract expired almost 1.5 years ago. Long time ago already. But I just want to make sure that we're going to put you on tag the desk to follow where they are located.
Maybe they can put the statute on top of the
The BA's
desk.
gonna look into it.
Yes, with these statues.
Okay, let's continue.
10C is a resolution authorizing the execution of a memorandum is that a memorandum of agreement, or is it a memorandum of understanding? It is agreement, okay. I'm just double checking my own staff. With the Corporation of National and Community Service that authorized the City of Jersey City to participate in the VISTA program. 10Z Okay, 10Z1 is a resolution of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City authorizing the submission of and acceptance of the grant for the Jersey City Summer and Food Program for calendar year 2015. 10Z2 is a resolution authorizing the use of competitive contracting to award a contract for demand response energy use curtailment program. 10Z3 through 10Z11 were touched on earlier. 10Z12 is a resolution authorizing the award of a contract to Camparelli Equipment and Services, Inc. for the purchase and installation of 4 barrier gates for the Municipal Service Complex for the Department of Administration, Division of Architecture, Engineering, Traffic, and Transportation. 10Z13 through 10Z16 were touched on earlier. 10Z17 is a resolution awarding a professional service agreement to Andrew C. Abrams, Esquire, attorney at law of the state of New Jersey, to serve as Chief Municipal Public Defender in Jersey City Municipal Court, in addition to performing his duties as a public defender for the 2015 calendar year. 10Z18 is a resolution awarding professional service agreement to attorneys at law in the state of New Jersey to serve as public defenders in the Jersey City Municipal Court for calendar year 2015. 10Z19 was touched on earlier by Jeremy. 10Z20 is a resolution authorizing the adoption of the Hudson County multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan as the official plan of the City of Jersey City. 10Z21 is a resolution authorizing the use of competitive contracting to award a concession for advertising on the new scoreboard and new turf soccer field at Caven Point Athletic Complex. 10Z22 is a resolution honoring Alton Brown Jr. for donating a kidney to save his father's life. 10Z23 is a resolution celebrating the 25th anniversary of the York Street project. 10Z24 was touched on earlier. None on your printed agenda are 3 resolutions. One that Robert had promised Councilperson Baggiano, which is the resolution introducing and approving the 2016 budget of the Journal Square Special Improvement District, directing the city clerk to publicly advertise the budget and schedule a public hearing, and directing the tax assessor to prepare an assessment roll of properties within the district based upon the budget. 10Z 26 and 27 were added by Council President Lavarro.
And Councilperson Osborne.
And Councilperson Osborne. Thank you. First one is a resolution urging that the governor and state legislature approve an equitable funding formula for charter schools. And 10Z27 is a resolution urging a full and immediate end to all state bans on same-sex marriage across the United States.
Can I just speak on Z26? Just ask for your support on this. Charter schools, as you can see from the resolution, serious deficit in their funding. Many of our charter schools, some of our really good ones, their existence is threatened at this point by the lack of funding that they're receiving. I'm speaking specifically of like the Ethical Community Charter School, which is down in Ward B. Is that over in your ward, Chico? Tex? And so, they've been advocating for equitable funding around this. As the resolution says, they receive 50% of costs of the roughly $17,000 per student. Candace, do you want to say anything on that?
I would just echo those remarks. As I believe the funding, my numbers might not be 100% correct now, but $17,000 a student at traditional district public schools. Charter schools get only like $10,000 or sometimes even less per student. So it is a big gap, and it's just a loophole at the state level that needs to be closed.
I'll say, just on Z27, this is inspired by your advisory board, Councilman Rivera. So I just thought it was really important to get on the record. The Supreme Court is taking up marriage equality right now, and it's going to be historic. Things have changed quite a bit over the past year, probably, and we missed the opportunity in New Jersey when it became legalized there to get something done there. But I think it's ripe for for it now. And lastly, before we close, I'm sorry, Pam would want this as her final wish, is that behind me there is I know I mentioned this before, but I failed to mention that the artwork right directly behind me was created by Zaraya Oliveira, a fourth grader, and she is the granddaughter of Rosani Penteado of Jersey City, employee in the finance department. Yes, yes he is.
And before I ask for a motion, I am working diligently to try to schedule the balance of the budget hearings. I'm just awaiting to hear back from a couple of departments, but I should have something for you before Thursday. And I just want to congratulate my son for tomorrow. He's graduating New Jersey City University tomorrow. On that note,
Wait, one last announcement, I'm sorry. As you all know, Margaret has started as council secretary. She's returned from her honeymoon. Congratulations on your recent marriage. And then also next week, it hasn't been scheduled yet, but Pam has served all of us wonderfully, I think, in many ways, and hoping to celebrate her, although she's still going to be here, and you'll all find her and find ways to extract something out of her. She'll be down in the Resident Response Center, but hopefully next week there'll be a celebration to celebrate. We haven't set a date yet, but we want to do that.
Because I'm leaving, I'm going to spend a week with my sister in Florida, so I need it. So I never went in my whole life.
When is this?
One-way ticket.
When is it?
We haven't set a date yet. Just want to put it on your radar.
motion to adjourn at 8:05 p.m. Motion made by Councilwoman Coleman, seconded by Councilwoman Osborne. All in attendance, let's say aye. We are out of here at 8:05 p.m. Good night.